As many of you requested, today I shall be showing you my World War I tunnel diorama. But before, let me give you a little background about that. In 1916, the French were being led white by the German offensive at Verdun. So the Allied generals decided to open a new front at the Somme. They prepared a huge offensive to blow up the German fortress. For 7 days, the Allied cannons roared, and under, hundreds of Royal Engineers were laying mines. But they were too slow and ineffective. This is when John Norton Griffiths, a British billionaire, comes in. He decided to enroll the tunnellers from Manchester, professionals, into the army and to the Somme. The next day they were in France and could already start their work. Rapidly they rearranged the British tunnel network and things were going well. Unfortunately, on the 1st of July, the day of the offensive, after a whole week of shelling and weeks of Royal Engineers laying mines, the German position remained intact. They had simply hit underground, and so onward the French and British advanced. At the end of the day, half of England was gone. To this day it is still remembered as the biggest British military defeat in history. So this is our first scene. You can see 4 Commonwealth miners digging away in a tunnel. 2 of them with the bags from that full of that dirt they were just digging, and they're moving it away. You can also see I used lots of flames because of course they were underground, so they needed some sort of lighting to see where they were going. This World War I scene is very common. You can see them laying mines, and that's what happened the whole time during the warfare for 4 years in the tunnels, because it was a game of cat and mouse. You had to find the enemy, being as silent as possible, and once you had managed to seek out the enemy, you had to try to lay mines underneath him and blow him up. And if you were really experienced, what you would do is lay 2 mines. The first one would blow up the enemy miners, and you would wait for the rescue team to come in, and that's when you would blow up the second one, making as much chaos as possible and killing as many people as possible. The reason that you can see a British infantryman in the tunnels is that miners at the beginning of the war, when they were mining, they always breached into the enemy and started fighting. And of course, since they were civilians, they weren't used to that, so they had to have sort of bodyguards to protect them. And that's why infantrymen were called in to help them. And usually that was a horrible nightmare for them, because infantrymen would rather die outside than stay trapped in tunnels where it was completely dark and there was no air and all of that. So over here you can see a rescue team evacuating one of the men that has burnt his hand. After miners, rescue teams were the second worst job in World War I, because there was a high chance, like I said before, of not coming back. At this scene we have British anticipating the shootout that's going to happen because the Germans have breached their tunnels. And so what you can see is that out of the 3 men, 2 are carrying revolvers. I think they're Webley, I'm not sure. And the reason for that is that when the infantrymen were sent into the tunnels, their Lee-Enfield rifles, bolt-action rifles, were too big, and so they swapped them for revolvers. So now we leave the hell of the tunnels to go into the chaos of what is World War I. And you may have noticed that the trenches are linked directly to the tunnels. One of the only good things for being a tunneler was that you could rest and you weren't supposed to be called to fight in no man's land. The job was very, very exhausting and very stressful, and so usually when the tunnelers came out, they would just rest the whole time or feed themselves because they were full of money. I'm terribly sorry that I didn't post any videos for a whole month, but that was because I went on holiday, and the videos that I had made on my laptop, I was supposed to go through a cloud so that I could receive them in my holiday vacation and keep uploading the videos, failed to work, and since I stayed there for a whole month, I couldn't produce any videos. So I'm very sorry, But in rewards, here's a sort of interactive video where you get the view, you get into the shoes of a tunneler, and you'll see what happens next. Enjoy.